Hmm.
Hello.
Hi, Emmy. How are you?
Hi. I do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you
You
just
do.
fine. Can you
I
hear me
see
as
you
well?
do. Huh? Let me see.
Lovely. Can you hear
Yes.
me? Yeah.
Yes, I do. Hi. Hi, David.
Wonderful. Hi. Lovely to meet you, Emmy. How's your day going so
Lovely to
far?
meet you. Great. Today is our last day of roasting 2023.
All
So
right.
our dear roaster, he just shared with me that he just did 100 batches in 3 days, so he's exhausted. Can you imagine?
Oh, oh man,
Thank
that's a
you,
lot.
roaster. And our roasting machine is 5 kilos liters, so you can see how small it is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's quite a lot to work with, to be honest. Well, I'm very glad to hear.
Yes.
Thank you so much for, just hopping on this call. We've, been serving your coffee, probably for a few months, maybe a little bit longer now, and well, we've been having too much fun, to be honest. Um, yeah, and
Very
so
happy to hear. Thank you very much for having our coffees.
yeah, no, it's one of those situations where I can't believe roasters like you allow us to serve your coffee, to be honest. Um,
Why?
you know, well, it's one of those like your coffee's just so good, and I feel like we're truly just like a honestly a low cafe just in the middle of the US, and the fact that you guys are just like, sure, like you can have our coffee is just, it blows my mind because man, we've got to represent it as best as we can, it's just
Well, thank you so much for finding us. That's always a pleasure, especially customers or cafes in the US, because we are terrible at marketing. It's amazing that you found us and then contacted us. It's an honor to serve you guys. I mean, thank you very much for taking us to the US. Without you guys, I think no customers in the US are having our coffees. So
wow.
thank you. We have to thank
Yeah.
you for that.
No,
Yes.
absolutely. Well, I think I had mentioned to you we are using the Castillo Aroma Nativo for kind of just like a little subscription, and I think it actually comes today, so I'm very excited. um, and
Yes, I also checked on the DHL that it's coming now, right? Like anytime.
yep, yep, yeah.
Yep, yep.
Well, we're just too excited, and so I just wanted to ask you, a few questions about kind of you and Mame because I haven't kind of had the opportunity except for, reading articles and obviously following your Instagram. I've had the privilege of listening to I believe it's the Keys to the Shop interview.
Yes. Wow, that's the old one. That's 2018.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I I think you had like just won also the 2018 Brewers Championship like right
Yeah,
after.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think they were the first ones contacting me right after the winning. I remember having a conversation. Well,
Wow.
okay, thank you so much for referring to that. That's been 5 years, right? So since that recording, so that's
I'm doing well. We're
uh,
just like such big fans, truly. And so,
thank
2018 World or World Brewers Cup champion. You've been 2015, I believe, Swiss Barista Champion, and I think you placed third place. I like year or two previous or something. And man, your accomplishments are just remarkably huge. And I just kind of wanted to ask, how did you get your start in coffee? I don't know too much about that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Matthieu and I used to work in a totally different field,
Mhm.
and we both met each other thanks to coffee.
Okay.
We are both not from Switzerland. I'm from Japan originally. He's from France originally.
Hmm.
We both kind of landed in Zurich because of previous background. I came to Switzerland to study tourism.
Hmm.
I came here to study tourism and hospitality, hotel management. I ended up working in a travel agency in Zurich, where Matthieu also kind of came at a similar timing. He was an engineer, came living our lives separately, happily in Zurich, a little bit bored, because the city is, I don't know, Zurich, I don't know how to say, it's either big village or small city. It has everything, but it's a very, very petty. So we both kind of wondered what else to do to keep
Hmm.
ourselves busy. And then we ended up showing up at the coffee cupping, which was very new to us at the time because we weren't coffee professionals at the time. That's back in 2013. So 10 years ago. Oh my goodness. But then that encounter with the cupping conducted at the roastery locally turns out that it showcased the diversity of specialty coffee.
Hmm.
Back in the days, we didn't know how coffees taste differently. All we knew was, wow, coffee tastes differently. Then you can start picking up one tastes like this, another one tastes like that. You like it, you don't like it. So it got triggered our interests. And then because there was no other choices, at least to us, to learn about coffee, but just training for competition. The roster at the time was kind enough to offer us to join the team of a bunch of barista competitors training for the national championships because he was anyway training a few baristas. And they say, yeah, come and join and watch if you want to. And then we, being very innocent, like, oh yeah, I want to go have a look. That was 2014. And I personally took it very seriously because I find it so interesting. And then I trained myself together with Philip, his name, the roster at the time, for the Barista Championship in Switzerland that I happened to win. So I went to World Championship in Seattle 2015, not knowing what's going on around me. That's where I think we truly got inspired by professionals around the world
Yeah. Yeah.
because we were there on site and then we thought, wow, we just didn't understand what we stepped into. But obviously, we truly wanted to understand more. So
Yeah.
since 2015, we've been competing. I competed the Barista Championship and I won that year. 2016, Matthieu won first time. He was still engineer. I became a barista for the first time. I quit my job, but then of course he won. I didn't, so I switched my categories because there's only one winner per category. So I started the Brewers Cup Championship in 17. He stayed in barista in 17. We both didn't win in 2017, so we took an opportunity to learn in Seoul from the World Championships to observe.
Yeah.
And then 2018, back in the games, he won barista. He became third in the world. I won Brewers and then a beer champion. And Matthiue actually kept on competing. In Boston, he was placed sixth barista. I didn't compete.
Yeah.
2020, I went back to championship again, and I won barista again, and I was fourth a year later. And then my career of championship is done. I'm rather training people. Matthiue is Swiss champion this year again for the fourth time. He's going back to Busan, so we are exciting. In between, our dear head barista Daniel Ricci became second this year. So we are surrounded by talented baristas. And of course, meanwhile, we also wanted to make ourselves professional in coffee. So today we have 3 coffee shops in Zurich, two in Geneva, and then 1 roastery. Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And if I remember correctly, you recently opened the 3rd location in Zurich. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, so this year was a kind of expansion year. We got 3rd location in Zurich and 2 locations newly in Geneva. So we got 3 more. That is really truly to keep sourcing our coffees, also from our trusted partners, but bigger quantity, so that it's not only the tiny amount of top-notch coffees only, but also the variety of range of coffees in a bigger quantity.
Yeah.
So that we can supply ourselves with coffees that we love. We mostly source and purchase coffees directly. So that's also Matthiue and myself's joy, to go to the farms, meet the producers, cup the coffees, buy them, contract them, and then serve it to ourselves and to the world.
Yeah. Yes. Man, that's absolutely wild. One of the things when I, listened to the Keys to the Shop audio, was finding out that Tetsu Kasuya was your coach.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Please tell me more about that. Just too exciting.
So Tetsu, it's a very funny story. So when I went to Seattle, so not knowing anything, I just went there with Matthiue and the team.
Yeah.
Tetsu was there too, in Seattle, a bit lost, not knowing where the gate is for the Airpress Championship, because he was the Japanese Airpress champion of that year.
Yeah.
And then Matthiue found him on the street and then telling me like, hey, I think he's lost his Japanese. Go talk to him. So I went to him and said, can I help you? But in Japanese. He's like, yeah, I'm looking for entrance. And yeah, we go together. I didn't know who he was. Neither he didn't know me. We didn't know each other. We just met like this. And turns out that he was Airpress champion. Turns out that I was a home barista in Switzerland. We kind of kept in touch, kind of like, yeah, haha. But then 2016 in Dublin, when Matthiue was competing, Tetsu was competing and won.
Right.
That year. And then we were like, that's the guy who was lost this year. I was competing for Airpress Championship. Holy shit, he won the Airpress Championship. That's crazy. Wow. Like, wow. Yes, that's how we met each other. But we had met before.
That is amazing.
That's amazing.
Like,
yeah, we didn't know each other. We hadn't known each other. We just met on the street in Seattle a year before he won, and we were so astonished to see him and his fiance, now his wife, being there, crying, winning, and we were like speechless, because is it the guy that we saw in Seattle? Yes.
Yeah.
It was. And,
that's
so
yeah. What a crazy story. I can't believe you met him that way.
And then of course he's been dear friends to us since then. And when I started to compete in 2017, I didn't win, as I said, and then I became third. And the part of the reasons why I didn't go further was because I didn't do well in the compulsory. So because I had known him before his winning, I took a courage to say, hey, Tetsu, what's your secret for your compulsory? Because I think I didn't do well. So next year I want to compete. And then he gave me tips. And then the tips worked in the nationals. So I said, Tetsu, I think I need you for the world as well. Because I mean, obviously your tips work. So he was like, okay, why not? And that year he got married and he flipped the coins and then had to find out where he's going for his honeymoon. And it was meant to be Luxembourg or Liechtenstein. Yeah, Liechtenstein, which is just next to Switzerland. So he says, yeah, okay, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, I come. Like, okay, we do that together. We come for the training. So he came with his wife, I remember. And we spent 1 week together, trying to figure out which coffee, what. And he came another week, a bit later, to train me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. Tetsu has been probably one of the bigger, if not biggest, influences in my brewing. Obviously with the 4-6 method, probably like 4 or 5 years ago is when I learned about him, and truly just blew my mind away. And someone we continue to go back to, and oddly enough, they're sending some samples to us. And so it'll be my first time trying his coffees. I'm so excited. Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
We talk, I mean, he has his business, we have our business, but it's really beyond coffee business. It's truly a beautiful friendship. He's my mentor. I really admire him also, whether he keeps inventing his brewings, like even if he would compete in the Brewers Cup ever again, he's coming up with a new recipe. He comes with excitement. It's like, Emi, I found a new recipe. I'm like, oh, thank you for sharing. He's a lovely German. Yes. Yes. So I'm jealous you're trying his coffee. That's amazing. Tell us later how it was, because I'm excited for you and for him too.
I will. We truly are just too excited. I mean, kind of having learned about you, and your coffee's been absolutely remarkable, and just kind of hearing that like friendship, kind of professional thing you guys have with Tetsu is just the coolest thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we're happy too.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. So obviously you and Matthiue and Daniel, you all have competed so much, and hearing you kind of run off the ground competing in your coffee journey is just, it's honestly an encouragement to people like me. And just kind of wanted to ask, in competing, how did you, or I don't know so much how, but what did it really kind of draw you into in terms of coffee and your love for it, and wanting to learn more and to compete more? What was it wanting to be professional, or or just, I don't know, just like I was just kind of wondering.
Yeah. So for me personally, competition was really a way to connect myself with coffee professionals, coffee world, coffee industry. Coffees, we all know they keep surprising us in different directions. And also, apart from a daily operation, it really challenges you. The whole process of from the day you decide to compete until you're on the stage, there are maybe a couple of weeks, month, whatever you name it. And that's a really, it's almost like a project on its own for you and for your career. And every year is slightly different. You learn a lot about yourself. You see your limit. You go beyond your limit. You sacrifice a lot. You train yourself a lot in not only just the palate, but also you kind of surround yourself with similar-minded people or coffee professionals that you can get inspired to. So for me, it was definitely not always fun. It was always fun. It was not always easy. But it was one of the greatest opportunities I got as a coffee. Today I can say proudly professional, but I started my journey through competition. So I do think that this is one of the, let's say, important path that the barista can go. Definitely not only today. I think there are many ways to embrace yourself as a professional barista, but I think it's also a nice way to progress yourself as a professional barista on stage, because you're in front of human beings. After all, they're like your customers with a certain types of criteria, meaning score sheets. They can't talk to you, but you can communicate with them. You can see, you can study their expressions, impressions a lot, and that's also one of the tasks that you actually face every day as a barista. With every customer entering your coffee shop, you don't know if she is having a bad day, good day, bad mood, good mood, having a palate, yes, no, do they care, yes, no, so it is just a type of customers to satisfy. So it's a kind of like a challenge accepted, like sometimes your anticipation don't go the way you think. That's why you try to train yourself, train your palates, get to know a coffee as a product in and out, because we all know you like one coffee, next day it's not having a good day, and then you're like, why? You were tasty yesterday, you're not tasty today. What's happening to you? And you try to make it work. Yeah, it happens all the time, right? You decide on a coffee, and is it degassing, recipe, water, grind size, like whatever you name it. But that's a whole journey, is indeed a project to be a better barista. So I think that has been a motivation for me myself to keep competing. And now I backed off, but I see my baristas like Daniele or Matthiue this year, or we have a few more within the team who want to compete newly. And that's a great, I don't know, almost like a legacy for me to pass on. And I'm very happy at any way to be helpful or useful. Just to cheer next to them, like just to bother them a little bit and say, yeah. Yes.
Well, I'm sure you do an absolutely amazing job because of how well Daniel's done. Let alone his coffees have been just mind blowing. Right now in the shop we have the Finca Milan, and I think today's the day we're dialing it in for, I think, either both espresso and pour over, or I know. And I kid you not, that coffee just unreal. And I just absolutely amazed that even our customer base loves the coffee so much. And I think when we had
Fantastic.
it, like a month or so ago, it like ran out in like, I think 2 days or so.
Okay.
That's pretty quick. But yeah, so even speaking of, you kind of just mentioning Daniel, just these coffees that we've had, and this one, the Castillo, from his Italian, is just, I'm so excited to try it. We've had the Pink Bourbon, we've had the Mandela. Could you maybe just give us a little glimpse into like what it was like for him to kind of choose these coffees? Especially this Castillo, just because we have some people just getting it. I don't know, just chat to me a little bit. Yeah.
Of course. So this was the coffee that Daniele took for his national championships. He actually had 3 coffees. He had Geisha, Pink Bourbon, and this Castillo for his routine. And he's a very talented and also experienced barista competitor. He's been competing since he was 18. So I think 7 years or so. Yeah, a young man with a lot of ambition. When he joined us, he was already Italian champion for the first time. We actually competed together in 2021 in Milan. I was a Swiss Barista Champion and he was Italian Barista Champion. We went together. He did 8th. So he did amazing. And that's 2021. Yes. Not there yet to be in the finals, but then he did come back strong this year with the coffees one of the coffees that he's having. I really like his approach of choosing coffees, and also we conducted to choose those coffees together. Is really, he's experienced but also very open-minded, young but really experienced barista who really truly thinks about the drinks that he's serving. So it's not just, okay, let's take the best farm, best coffee, and make a best extraction. It's really more about the story, background, how can he make tasty drinks for each drink that he has to do, espresso, milk drink, or signature drink. And then we had a fortunate situation that we work with Aroma Nativo, that we had a choice of those 3 coffees. We did try, of course, every single one of them as a solo shot. And then we chose those coffees for each drinks together, thinking how to highlight each of them at its best, right? So we really admire him making such decisions, and he's really determined. Even if under pressure, he can make right decisions. Under pressure, like within last 15 minutes, when you have 3 coffees, you have to adjust all the grind sizes under pressure on stage before going literally on stage. And then he wanted to do it, which is, more coffees means more stress. So exactly. I was in Italy when he was competing. I was on his side when we did the 1 hour training together. As I said, yesterday you were tasty, and then it wasn't tasty this one, and then the next day it will be the other way around, and you kind of have to do something. That was also one of the pieces of information, pieces of experience that he wanted to pack in his backpack as an experience, which again, we really think that he's an open-minded, driven barista. Yeah, and I think those 3 coffees individually taste very differently. It's nicely highlighting the work of a group of people at Aroma Nativo. They chose carefully which varietal to be processed in a certain way. So that was truly a teamwork, which I think he also values a lot. So that was like a very Daniele style.
Yeah, no, and the coffees have been amazing. So it's so exciting, just for me to having, tasted the others, to be able to try the final one, and to be honest, and it's been so neat, watching, I've only seen his, World Barista, performance, and just remarkable. I'm just genuinely amazed by just the preciseness of everything he has done, and how he talks, and it was just too neat, and so the fact that we're able to have these coffees, just again another, just I don't know how we're allowed to have them, but here we are. Well, that is too funny. Well, so, just kind of another question, because, we always brew your coffees, all the time. We usually at least have one on pour over. If not, it's 1 or 2 weeks till we get the next shipment in. And, kind of just wondering, do you have any, brewing tips and or recommendations of how you like your coffee to be brewed? Yeah.
Okay. So I like coffees that are sweet. I think one of the first things I would love in a cup is the sweetness and the nice texture. I think tactile is very important for me over flavors. So what kind of flavors I have is, let's say, less important than how the texture or tactile is when I have a sip. How sweet is it, so that all the other flavors are supported by the sweetness. So in order to highlight this, I think our roasting style is also going towards sweetness and the brightness, of course, but more like, it's never too light when it comes to roasting. It's going to be nicely cooked through without destroying the fruitiness. So that when you try to brew, I hope that it's not too troublesome to make a good brew. Meaning our customers are on the globe, meaning some of the customers have a softer water than others, or other way around, hard water, soft water. Thinking of our dear customers in the US and also in Asia, having a little bit less minerals in our water than in Europe. We are very cautious to have a big window that when you brew, it should be easy. So it should be quite straightforward to get the nice sweetness, nice characteristic of the coffee, and then hopefully a good texture, and then the rest will be diverse. And for me, coffee should be the best coffee is the coffee you like. Maybe you like it juicy, you like it bright, you like it all the fruity bang on your face, and then you should be able to brew in a certain way like that. And if you like fruits but more cooked, jammy, thicker flavors, and then you should be able to get that. Which device? I don't really necessarily have certain favorites, except for our coffee shops. We do use Gina today, or even Switch can be used. We love the fact that you can combine immersion and drip. This is, I think, so far very easy for all of us baristas to be aligned when we say, let's do blooming 30 seconds, but closed with 40 grams of water. There's not much you can make mistakes with. It doesn't matter who. And then 30 seconds later, you open the valve, you go in a center, and then please finish pouring by 1 minute. Again, of course, you can be high, you can be low, but again, like you need to have a certain flow of speed of the flow if you have to be done by a minute. So I try to make it easy to follow, easy to make it a good coffee. And then, of course, if you want to compete, you can, go deeper to make it even tastier. But I would love to keep it tasty and accessible wherever you brew. Yeah. So I think that's the kind of a thing I really hope that it's happening wherever you have a coffee scene.
Yeah, we've been working with Harios, and we're kind of at the point where we've looked into origami, so we're kind of looking at that, but we're really not sure. And so it's really neat to hear someone like you who when you competed, I think my assumption is you were the first person to use that kind of a brewer, right?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to see, thanks to La Cabra. I think I remember it. La Cabra had an expo in New York, and they represented the gadget, and I felt like, wow, it's beautiful. I mean, La Cabra is beautiful. The gadget is beautiful. I want to try. So that's how I bought one. At the time, Switch didn't exist.
Yeah.
And then this little valve was very helpful, just to be very I don't care, 30 seconds or 45 seconds or whatever you name it, and also changing the temperature, it was easier to control this, which was fun. And then now it became our standard. We don't do this 2 temperatures water. No, otherwise my baristas will kill me. But we only use this to do immersion or drip. Yes. At the cafe. They wouldn't like it. I think the army of baristas wouldn't like to make it too complicated. When you have 3 stations, huge queue, everything is by hand. We have no batch brews. Yeah. I want to keep them happy.
It's quite funny.
Happy baristas, happy customers. Yes.
we did notice in your World Brewers championship that you did that, and it was one of those like, man, this is just so neat. But yeah, the same thing was like, man, I don't know if all of us could ever do something like that.
That recipe only works for that coffee.
Yeah.
I tried the combination of hot, colder, like the crazy combinations. It doesn't work with anything. Like that recipe only works for that coffee. I mean, which is for the championship. And then I do not recommend any coffee shops to do this kind of recipes. You're gonna frustrate your baristas and the customers, because it takes time, and but and that's also the thing about championship, that you can go so deep that you can do anything to do a best cup ever. Whereas, of course, coffee shops, this is also important, but that's where I said, like, I think a tasty cup has to be accessible, especially at the coffee shops, because you don't want to frustrate anyone. It is a nice thing to be busy, but then it has to be easy to conduct and deliver in a less waiting time.
Yeah.
pushing for perfection shouldn't frustrate customers, because in the end they have to be a happy customers, enjoying the coffee that they come back again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys do an amazing job, and it's things like these that you kind of just trying to make it accessible for everybody that like makes us so happy. And not to mention, your subscription looks amazing, and I kid you not, I keep thinking I'm going like I might end up just doing your subscription because it looks so wonderful. And
Yay!
your coffees that just go with it is just the neatest thing.
This is a Brewers Cup. This is my Brewers Cup every month. I have a coffee that I have to make it tasty every month. Like I have to put the post, right? So I have to make a recipe. Like all those coffees that we give as a subscriptions, they are tasty. I know that. But I'm also taking a whole month to kind of think like, okay, which recipe shall I do? Yeah, I did that, but then now today the coffee is not degassed properly, so maybe I try again. Like it takes so much time. It's almost like every month it's a championship, because I have to think of the water, grind size, which device. Yeah, last month I used this, so maybe I shouldn't use that. Or maybe I try.
Wow.
It's fun. It keeps me pushed. It's nice.
Yes. Wow. That's amazing. And wait, did you say that every coffee in the monthly is like your championship coffees or something along those lines?
So yes, those every month the assigned secret mysterious coffee is from the range of a championship.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's heavily from Panama or Colombia. That is because we go spend like a few days, like 10 days or 2 weeks, to really go to every farm, and then we would have a lot of such, not always geisha, but interesting coffees.
Yeah.
And then we have maybe here and there different origins, but that is because we are simply a small roster. I cannot have 20 countries on my collection, but I prefer to keep it personal, so to say, so that every month is a little bit different. But then those coffees are indeed championship level, so that the coffee lovers should be able to have opportunity to try this kind of coffees. I think it's one of the things I found it difficult when I started coffee. You can't try best coffees in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, nobody has this, nobody serves this. Like it's only like this amount, and of course it's a small amount. But I think it would be nice. I would have liked it if I would start as a home barista and I say, okay, I want to try the best coffee in the world, just 100 grams every month.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? And it looks amazing. I might be signing up for it because that's just one of those things. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for getting on this call. To be honest, I could talk to you for quite a while, and I have a lot more questions. But I try to keep this kind of a little shorter for our subscribers and stuff. But man, if would love to chat another time in the future. Just to hear more about Mame and Matthiue. I feel like I didn't even get to hear about him. I kind of like would love to know more, from his side as well.
He's an interesting guy.
I'm glad to hear that. I would assume so. But yeah, just wanted to, again, express thank you so much for, allowing us to serve your coffee. And yeah, thanks for getting on this call. Man, you have truly a wonderful holidays this season.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that our coffees are making it to you today. I was a bit worried. I was tracking every day. I was like, please, before Christmas, please. Thank you so much for having us back on your shelves. It's a very nice encounter that we have together, and definitely next time with Matthiue as well. He's a very interesting man too. Much more in depth and constructive thinking than myself. So yes,
I'm dying. Well, again, thank you so much, and
thank you so much.
Happy day and holidays.
Yes, happy holidays, and we talk to you guys soon.
That sounds good. Take care of me. Bye.
Bye.